I often will tell people I feel like I won the lottery, like I hit jackpot, that I truly love my job. I love working with my students. I love working with my colleagues. I feel good coming in.
CCSU students don't already think they know it all. They don't already think that they're entitled to A's just because they paid for it. You know, they came here to learn, they came here to make something of themselves, and it's incredibly gratifying to help them do it.
The hardest part is also the best part. I think it's just challenging to get through to each student. There are students who approach with different ability levels, different experiences, different cultural backgrounds, but the challenge of trying to do that and get through to students on their own individual level is kind of what gets me up in the morning.
Part of being in grad school is that you have a teaching assistantship, and I just learned that I love college level math. It's just, I really enjoy thinking about it. I think it's, it can be like fascinating and mind-blowing, and it just, teaching in college, it gives you the opportunity to teach, but keep exploring on your own.
The big secret in academia is that a lot of us who come in to teach don't know how to teach. We've had very little experience in the nuts and bolts of teaching. I was lucky enough to know what I needed to do, at least, you know, the basics. I had a background in a class on philosophy of teaching, on doing research pertaining to teaching, and I learned and developed my own philosophy on who I wanted to be as an educator. And I think each year it becomes more crystallized, more useful to me as a professional.
I think like most teachers, I have that story from my childhood of lining up my dolls and making my sister sit there while I taught them. So I've always wanted to be a teacher. I've always known that I really want to be able to work with students and engage with them. Part of the reason why I then thought about going into the university for teaching was, particularly in my graduate degree when I was TAing and then teaching, I just loved what you could do with undergraduate students, that they're really at such a high level that they can really engage with the material. You can have amazing conversations and discussions with them about the material in ways that I didn't think you could do at other levels.
My approach to teaching is that it's not about me. It's not about what I want to say or what I want to talk about. It's about what the students should get. It's about what the students should be able to do. It's about what they should be able to accomplish and what they can accomplish. In my opinion, the best way to get them to be able to do anything is to have them do it themselves. And so I try to stay away from the front of the classroom as much as possible and put the students at the front. I try to make them learn as much independently on their own as they can. It's really important to me that they not just learn content or material, but that they learn how to learn.
So I use what I know about in psychology to facilitate student learning. The other thing that I try to do is the same things that good therapists try to do in the field of psychology. They try to be real, so they get what they get, better or worse. Sometimes I'm grumpy, sometimes I'm exuberant, sometimes I'm helpful, sometimes I'm frustrated. So I let the students see that. I let them see a real professional interaction. I treat them as if they're adults. I put the expectations out there and expect them to reach it. And they know that they can count on me if they need assistance.
So in all my classes, my fundamental goal is always to give them a solid liberal arts education. People often see history as just the past, or they see it as memorization of dates and names. And so it's very dry and it's boring and it's not engaging and it's honestly of no value, right? Because we have Wikipedia. We can just go Google when the Battle of Hastings was. But that's not at all what history is. So whenever I think about how to teach a new course, or it's not about what material do I want to present, but rather what skills or knowledge do I want them to take and then use in the future.
I've taught at a lot of different places. I've taught at some places that primarily emphasize research. I'm a clinical psychologist, so I've taught at places that kind of emphasize practice and how to do therapy and assessment. The thing that I liked about Central from the minute that I came to visit and consider this place as somewhere I'd like to be as an employee was that the students work. And the truth of the matter is that the students at Central that I've had that were the best are the best students that I've ever had during the course of my career. And I think it's because they have so many different things to balance. They have such a strong desire to succeed in the face of other challenges like work, family responsibilities, and they give you what they got.
As you can imagine, in medieval history, the jobs are kind of all over. But when I saw that there's one here at CCSU, I was particularly excited. I really love the environment of CCSU. I like a lot that it's a public university. I believe very strongly in public education. But at the same time, one of the problems that you often get at big public institutions is huge classes. I really wanted to get to know them, to see their successes, to help them with their struggles. So one of the things that's particularly great about CCSU is that there's small classes, and I really get to know my students, not only as students, but as people.
My path to CCSU was once I finished graduate school, I got a visiting position at Trinity College. It was a 2-year position. I actually ended up only staying for 1 because I got the job at CCSU. And so I was at CCSU essentially 2 years after I finished grad school. And once I got here, I knew I wasn't going to go anywhere else because I love the students here. They're so hardworking, they're so motivated. They don't always have the strongest background, but they're willing to work hard to overcome that. And I can see so much growth in the students that start here and leave here. It makes me feel so proud and honored that a student would nominate me because I do this for the students, especially to be nominated by a student after the fact, you know, where they finished your class and they still remember your class and they still remember that they learned and then it was great, and you know, it means that whatever they gained from you is lasting, and I mean, that's just my ultimate goal.
Students have to take time out of their busy lives and their busy schoolwork in order to write a nomination letter. One of the things that is hard about this award is that I never get to know who that student is. So I know that there is clearly a very generous person out there who's willing to write a letter on my behalf. So thank you.
My relationships with students are the most important thing. For students, as busy as they are, to take the time to write a letter on my behalf, if they asked me if they should do it, I would tell them to spend their time on something else. The fact that they didn't and they focused on giving thanks for my efforts is mind-blowing to me. It's very important because that's who I am. I don't need any fancy terms to describe who I am. It doesn't matter if they say educator, teacher. I want to be somebody who's thought of as like being on the front lines of learning at this place, because this place is my place.